It's Amy Zawi with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert for Friday, June 23rd. Antisemitism in Europe. Even after the most recent terrorist attacks in England, including London and Manchester, and an even more recent attack in Belgium, Hezbollah held its annual parade this week on June 18th in the streets of London with permission of the government. This annual trek taken through the streets by anti-Israel protesters and pro-Hezbollah personnel carry slogans of hate and destruction for Israel, as well as flags with rifles on them. Hezbollah is a known terrorist group who is funded by Iran. Yet they are given an annual voice with permission of the government every single year. The small Jewish community in the area are understandably upset and repeatedly insulted each year. But the Brits in general are getting tired of it, and this year 20 to 30 pro-Israel supporters with peace and legal permission took to the streets as a counter-voice or a counter-protest. These pro-Israel folks carried Israeli flags as well as signs saying "terrorists off our streets." The anti-Israel marchers were a little bit shocked and dismayed because every year they've had carte blanche. That is a free reign of no opposition to their spewing of hatred and their march down the streets. This year they were a little bit taken aback and even left speechless at times to see that there are people that disagree with them and who are not afraid to stand up to them. It is pretty ironic that this group of people are enjoying the free speech and the freedom of thought and assembly that so many people have worked hard to protect. This countermeasure by the pro-Israel group is also a message to the local government that these kinds of hatred-type speeches and events should not be allowed on community property. However, not negating the fact that free speech and free assembly certainly must be preserved. The idea of Jewish communities around Europe feeling an increased sense of hostility is on the uptick. On June 20th, in Jerusalem Post, Jeffrey Ludwig reported that Issy Liebler, a professor at the City University of New York in the philosophy department and also a member of the Zionist Organization of America and author of several books, including The Catastrophic Decline of America's Public High Schools, he published an article about anti-Semitism on the rise in the UK in particular and in the West at large. The UK has seen a distinctive uptick in anti-Semitism, and this is particularly fueled by both the increase of Middle Eastern populations, primarily Muslims, who have had a traditional hatred towards Jews and the state of Israel, as well uptick in political rhetoric that seems to support the Palestinian or the Muslim cause, and that includes Labour Party lead Jeremy Corbyn, who narrowly did not win the seat as Prime Minister in recent elections in London. Corbyn is openly friendly to Hamas, and the increased population from the Middle East is presenting a two-pronged increase in hostility towards the Jewish community. Although physical violence is manifested by a few extremists, it is enough extremism to cause pain and havoc in the streets. Due to this, both population and demographic issues, as well as the political climate in London and the greater UK, a well-reasoned British populace who is normally freedom-loving and fair-minded are subject to the whims of cowardice and domineering prejudice. Sometimes I read these various events and happenings in news sources from a variety of sources, and I grow weary. Sometimes this weariness is because I feel like I have no way to contribute to helping or solving the problem. Then I came across a verse this morning. 2 Chronicles 20:17. Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still, and see the salvation of the Lord with you, O Judah and Jerusalem. Fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for the Lord will be with you. Sometimes I think I just need to absorb and then figure out how I can best lend a voice and contribution to solving these problems of injustice and unfairness towards the state of Israel and targeting of Jewish people worldwide. Because it is unfair and it is certainly not God's purpose. But His hand is in it, and that I will trust. Shavua Tov, have a great week, and Shabbat Shalom.